If you want to be a video editor, these 12 essential skills, in my opinion, are going to help get you there. Let's start with the first one, typing and shortcuts. One of the most essential practical skills that you can have as a video editor is absolutely your typing skills that then transitions to shortcut skills. As a professional freelance video editor, when I am in editing mode on my computer, I will usually have one hand on the mouse and one hand on the keyboard. And that is how I function for the majority of my time whenever I'm editing. So it becomes really important to be able to not have to look down when you are looking for shortcuts. And if you are, then you can at least do it very quickly. It's honestly very comparable to, well, I'm aging myself, but when we would take typing classes back in the day for computer class. I don't know if they still offer that now, but they honestly should, because typing is really, really important for a lot of different reasons. But as a video editor, your typing skills will help with your speed skills, and ultimately speed, well, we'll discuss that later, is one of the best skills that you can have as a video editor. Now, on the topic of typing and shortcuts, let's talk about some shortcuts and why you need to know them. Again, it usually has to do with speed more than anything and efficiency. If you are doing everything with just the mouse, you are going to be doing it at a fraction of the speed that someone else could be doing it with just remembering a shortcut. Now, there are the basic shortcuts like cutting and trimming and zooming in and out, and maybe the undo button and fast forward and rewind. And it of course goes up from there depending on your skill level and what you want to have as a shortcut. Some things don't necessarily need to have a shortcut depending on what kind of work that you are doing. And some things, some people don't care about having a shortcut, but I personally really love having as a shortcut. Linking and unlinking, enabling and disabling. If you are interested in a more in-depth discussion of how to edit faster with shortcuts, then definitely check out this video here, or type in learn shortcuts on whatever software you're using, and you're gonna find a very wide variety of videos to help you with that. But do understand that typing in shortcuts is absolutely one of the first things that you should be getting down. Okay, let's talk about curiosity. Definitely a more softer skill, not quite as practical as learning shortcuts, but curiosity is a strong skill to have in many ways as a video editor. Curiosity and creativity are closely linked. And when you are a more curious person, you're going to ask, how was this edited? How was this thing created? How was this movie made? How was this effect created? How did they get the sound to sound so good? How did they color grade that movie to look like that? Curiosity essentially fuels our desire to learn new techniques. And ultimately, learning new techniques is how you not only grow as a video editor, but then how you survive as a video editor. Because I am a professional video editor right now. I've made it, if you will. The minute that I stop advancing my knowledge of video editing, new ideas, new trends, new software and techniques coming in, the minute that I stop doing that, will I lose my job immediately? No, not necessarily, but you can fall behind really fast in such a techie job like video editing if you are not keeping up with the trends and new techniques. And you can really only do that with a curious mindset. Keyframing. When it comes to video editing and working in software like Premiere Pro, for example, keyframing is how things are animated in Premiere Pro, essentially. And this is pretty widespread to really all sorts of things in Premiere. If you want to create a fade out transition, you can do that with keyframing. If you want to create a zoom in, you can do that with keyframing. If you want to animate your text coming in and looking really cute, you can do that with keyframing. And you'll do that by clicking the object you want to animate, going into the effects controls and into the motion effect, which is always already there, and then placing keyframes from where you want the animation to start to where you want it to end. There's other factors here that separate an amateur to a pro, like making sure that the keyframe has a smooth transition using the easy ease settings. Tiny funny story, I took a motion graphics animation class when I was in college, and I I learned from there to start putting right in between the two keyframes, to put one that goes just a little bit farther. Like if something's sliding in, you want it to slide in and then there, except for really fast. These tiny little things make animations look just a little bit better and can make your videos look a lot better. And of course, again, this is just basic keyframing, but learning basic keyframing can help you if you ever need to start working with After Effects, which relies heavily on keyframing. If you have a new client that comes in that requires special skills that include motion graphics, it's important to understand the concept of keyframing so that you are not totally in the dark if they come to you and they want this skill from you. By the way, I am Colleen, and in this channel, I help you to get a video editing job and I help you to get paid doing what you love. So for more tips on that, be sure to hit subscribe so you can stay informed on when my new videos are coming into your life, and be sure to hit the like button so this video can spread to more people. Okay, let's talk about rhythm. We know rhythm from music class, everyone. But there is, of course, also rhythm in the movies that we watch, which is one of the bigger reasons why you can tell if a movie is good or if it is a snooze fest. While it can do it with a lot of things, a lot of times it has to do with the rhythm and pacing of the movie. And for the most part, that is controlled by the video editor and the director, but the video editor's holding the mouse. Rhythm is what keeps us interested in what we're watching. In fact, it's so important that for the last 5-10 years, potentially, YouTube has been in a complete surge of attention-grabbing content, breaking up the patterns in videos, shaking things up, making you want to watch for longer by breaking up the rhythm so that you pay attention more. Luckily, I think that trend might be coming down a little bit. Thank goodness. Let's all calm down. But whether you are creating narrative content or music videos or YouTube videos or documentaries, rhythm is going to be important in all of those kinds of videos. And really the only way I know how to study it and replicate it is just by appreciating good rhythm when you see it, acknowledging what you like about well-edited movies and other well-edited channels or music videos. You know it when you see it, and when you see it, if you can understand it, then you can replicate it. Organization. Organization, I forbid you to skip this chapter of the video.
You shall not pass!
And if you do decide to skip it, I'm gonna need you to comment down below, what is your organizing strategy with your content? How do you organize your videos when they come in from the client? For the rest of you who are sticking around, I utilize a very basic setup for both my organization outside of Premiere Pro and my organization inside of Premiere Pro. Outside of Premiere Pro, when a project comes into my life, I create a folder with that project title, hopefully preceded by a number system, so that if I have a lot of projects by said client, they are in order. So it goes client folder, project title with number, and then inside that project title, I have 3 folders: materials, projects, exports. That's all the folders you need. If you're bad at organization, start with this format, just to get yourself in the habit of putting things in folders and making sure everything has a home. Those are the basic amount of folders that you will need in order to keep your video editing business organized. Now, when you are inside of Premiere, honestly, same thing. You can get crafty if you want and have a lot of different folders. I think let's get basic and get the habit going before we start making too much work for ourselves to have to keep up with. So when you create a project, make sure you save that project in the projects folder for that project for that client. Once you've done that, pull in your materials folder, separate things if needed. Then outside of all that, make a sequence folder. In fact, you don't even have to make a sequence folder, but you should make a sequence folder. So you've got your materials and you've got your sequences. You've got the things you're gonna be using and you've got what you're gonna be putting those things in the sequence. With that, you can start your project. Very basic, and it's gonna look clean enough, at least, to get you started. I won't sit here and dabble on about how important organization is. I'm sure you guys all know that by now, just from the seriousness that is this section of the video. But absolutely, organization is one of the top priorities that you need to have as a video editor. We are working with a lot of different assets and things. And if we can't keep them organized, we're gonna end up doing a crappy job and we're gonna look like crap in front of our client. Discipline. Similarly, let's talk about discipline. Of course, that does have to do with organization. Actually, having the discipline to build the habit of making sure that everything is in their correct folders. What else can we be disciplined about? We can have discipline in making sure we are meeting deadlines. And if the client isn't giving us a good deadline, then we are creating a deadline for ourselves and we are meeting that deadline. Whatever time management, productivity, tips and strategies work for you, go for it. I know there are a lot of different strategies you could be using. If you want a video on that where I can go further into those strategies, let me know. But ultimately, our job is that the client is trusting us with their video to keep their videos safe and deliver their final product in a timely, organized manner. So you're going to need to find a way to discipline yourself to make sure you are getting tasks done. For me, I do still find it difficult to avoid distractions and sit at the computer for a long time and manage my time accordingly. I need a lot of breaks. I need to get up and walk around. I need a snack sometimes. I need a cup of coffee. Some days are easier than others. I need to account for that, knowing that, yeah, this week I might be doing really well, but next week I'm gonna be really tired and feel like crap and I'm not gonna wanna do anything. You can have discipline without being so terribly hard on yourself, because ultimately that then leads to you feeling like crap and you not wanting to do the work and you get depressed and nothing gets done. You need to figure out a plan that works for you and you need to understand yourself and your strengths and your weaknesses and then work with yourself. It's kind of like, since you are the boss of yourself, you kind of have to like separate yourself where you're the boss and saying this is this and you're saying, yes, that's fine, but I'm over here and I need these things, and you need to work together to make sure that this person's getting things done, but this person's also having a good time. Okay, let's take a break from all that and talk about something fun. Let's talk about creativity. Creativity is fun, right? Wrong. No, creativity is fun. And as a video editor, you are probably a natural problem solver, which is why video editing has come to your interest. We are solving problems constantly. With every cut, with every alternate take, we are solving all kinds of problems as video editors. Now, if you like the concept of video editing, you want to be a video editor, but maybe you aren't that good at problem solving. There are definitely some techniques that can help you. Brainstorming, journal dumping, experimenting, seeking inspiration, all these things can help inspire new ideas to help you with your edit. I remember I would often do that back in the day when I was editing bigger projects that required a lot of problem solving. I mean, there would be times where I would have a scene and I would take that scene and just leave it where it is in the timeline, and I would create a whole new timeline and kind of start from scratch and build things out. Even though I know that it's not going to look good, sometimes building something out and getting an idea out of your head can then spark a new idea. And while all of these things are general problem solving, it's part of our job as a video editor, that does make us creative individuals. We are finding ways to solve problems. And beyond just solving problems, just being a creative individual is absolutely insanely helpful for video editing. In fact, one of the reasons why I started this channel was because, while yes, I am a video editor, I feel like I didn't have quite enough control over the content that I was creating at the time. And so I wanted to be able to edit my own content. That was a huge boost at the time for creativity for me. And if you are struggling with creativity on your end, I would highly suggest you don't even have to create your own channel, but find ways to boost your creativity in ways that work for you. Maybe that is editing videos in different genres, or just finding stock footage online to edit, or going out and shooting just some random B-roll of things and editing it together, or maybe learning a new technique that you could then practice. It's really important that we keep our creativity level high. So whatever works for you. Typography. Now, I think I had this called something else and I changed it at the last second. I'm not even sure typography is the right word for it, but I'll just say making your text look good in your videos. I have to say, I probably didn't start doing it to this level until I got a job at a marketing company and I was doing a combination of video and also graphics. And I had a more graphics heavy boss who kind of helped steer me in even the text that I have today in these videos. There's a big difference in quality level between text that looks like this and text that looks like this, both in clarity, in being able to actually read the text, and in other things like the trends, like seeing how other people are having their text look nowadays. You want to also have your text look like that. You don't want it to look exactly the same, but you want it to look like you edited it in this decade. The basics surrounding typography in video basically center around, like what I was saying before, making sure your text looks modern. Also making sure your text is legible, of course, making sure it is sized properly according to the proportion of the video and proportion to maybe the person in the video, making sure that it is centered properly, centered wherever it needs to be centered. If it should be in the center, then it shouldn't be slightly off to the side. If it's supposed to be down here, then it should be down here and not like over here. The best way to get a sense of what your text should look like in videos is, again, looking at the videos that are going out right now. Go on YouTube and see the kind of text that people are using in their videos. I know that it has been changing slightly, and definitely with the rise of TikTok captions and Instagram captions, mainly TikTok, the text is definitely changing a little bit, but even more reason to keep an eye out and see what other people or platforms are doing so that you can then know how to create your text to blend in nicely with that. Speed. I noted this earlier in the video talking about shortcuts and how being able to use shortcuts and type quickly is going to help you be a faster editor. But there are other ways that you can increase your speed as an editor besides just shortcuts. You can save certain effects as presets so that you don't have to do them from scratch every time. If you're editing a video, kind of like how this video is, where it's just like a standard YouTube video and there's nothing super special about it, but there's a lot of them. I have a template for this project and it just has the basic graphics and things so that all of it is just already in the project when we go to edit it. Shortcuts, of course, are going to be a really essential thing here for you. And of course, making sure that your laptop is able to handle the speed at which you need to edit. If your laptop or desktop is slowing you down so much so that you are just continually waiting around for it to catch up to you when you're making your edits, it's time to have a bigger conversation with yourself where if you have the clients where you can spend that money on a computer, it's time to make that decision to get a new computer, or at least see what you can do to maximize the speed on the computer that you're using, because that is going to hold you back so significantly. If your hardware is not up to snuff for what you need speed-wise, it's going to be a really frustrating time you trying to edit on a slow computer. Attention to detail. Can you watch back an edit of yours and be able to tell if you extended your text graphic just a frame too long over where it should be? That's essentially the level of attention to detail that you should have as a professional video editor. And not to say that I am the end all be all of video editors. I am in no way a huge pro and I don't make money like I am, but I will note that I've come a long way from being an amateur video editor to being able to watch over an edit and instantly tell if something is wrong with that edit. I don't know if there's any way to improve this skill except for time and practice and doing a lot of edits over and over again. And also, attention to detail comes in many ways. My attention to detail to the edit and the frames may be up here, but my attention to detail to the color correction may be down here. So there's a lot of different aspects to video editing that we need to have a lot of attention to detail about that sometimes are our strengths and sometimes are not our strengths. All I can say here is to try your best to maintain consistency in your video editing career and vary the kind of projects that you are doing so that you can then ultimately grow into a professional video editor who has that strong ability to be able to look at an edit and know if it's good to go or if one tiny thing just needs to get fixed. If you made it this far and you are loving this video, I'd so appreciate it if you could hit the like button below so this video can spread to more people. And for more details on my Skillshare classes, including my newest Premiere Pro class, and to receive a free month of Skillshare, be sure to click the link in the description below. Feedback. This point is twofold. The first thing is, can you receive feedback? The second thing is, can you collaborate? Let's talk about just receiving feedback. Can you?
I don't know.
I think it's really important as video editors that we are able to take constructive feedback and not give excuses to each and every point made of why we needed to do something that way. That's fine if it's a discussion. It's another thing if it's this situation. I'm the client and I don't like this. I understand that. I edited it that way because blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't like it. Well, I have to have it edited that way because this. Well, can you fix it? No, I can't fix it because blah, blah, blah. While you may think you are in the right and maybe you are in the right about said situation, probably not going to be with that client for much longer. The client is not going to leave that meeting with a nice positive feeling about you. Now, this is a frustrating part of working with clients. Some clients you're going to get and they're going to offer you barely any feedback at all, maybe even none. And then you're going to get some clients that are going to have a lot of feedback for you. And again, this all depends on the kind of project that you are editing. If it's me working with a YouTuber, that's very different than me working with the director of a narrative piece. Of course, the director is going to have a much greater opinion of how the edit looks. Well, potentially. Sometimes YouTubers are opinionated. The discussion could go more like this. I'm the client and I don't like this. Okay, what specifically do you not like about it? I don't like the way this cut is made. Okay, let me show you the other options we have for said cut. Great. Thank you. It's important to be really flexible as a video editor. And if there truly is no other option, you can explain that to the client. But again, we are creatives, we are problem solvers. If we can't figure out how to solve this problem, then the client is just going to be left with an edit they are not happy with. Whether that is their fault or your fault or some guy down the road's fault, the client is still going to be left with an edit that they are not happy with. If there is any way that you can fix that problem for them, it's going to lead to you having a better experience with said client and will possibly lead to you getting more jobs with them. The other part of this, collaboration. Can you work with others? I guess that is pretty similar to receiving feedback, but similarly, every project that you work on has the potential to be a collaborative opportunity for you to network and have a good impression with more and more people. If you have a hard time working with other people, it's going to end up biting you in the butt is what it's going to do. And so I think this loops in nicely with feedback in that being a flexible person overall with your own edits, with other people's edits, with your boss, with the person under you, and ultimately going into every project with the mindset of, I'm just going to go work with this team and we're going to try to get this thing done and we're going to try and problem solve and make a product that everybody's going to be happy with. If you can go into it with that mindset, you're probably going to come out on the other side in a positive light. Creative foresight, otherwise known as predicting your client's needs. This is a special skill that I think comes with working with a lot of different projects and clients and different variety of works. Or similarly, it comes with, again, working for a while and doing the same kind of work over and over again. So if that is your niche and you prefer to only work on YouTube videos and a client comes to you and they need video editing done for their YouTube channel, you kind of know the things that they are going to be needing and the process that that's going to look like for you too. Basically, understanding the client's needs when they come to you ahead of time. Because a lot of times clients will come to you and they don't really know what they want. Maybe they are just starting their own channel, or maybe they've never worked with a video editor before and they're not really sure how the process works, and they're, not too trusting of a video editor because they've always just done the work on their own. And so predicting their needs ahead of time, essentially being seasoned in the work and having experience, will then lead to you getting more experience because you're gonna know what the client is looking for. But on top of that, you don't want to come into the situation saying, don't worry, I've done this before. I'm an expert. Just give it all to me and I'll take care of it. Because then you don't want them to feel dumb. So you want to predict and understand your client's needs while not overstepping. Interpret this however you'd like, but ultimately it's just a core part of building strong client relationships and exceeding expectations with your client. These are my 12 skills that I think that you should practice before and during your journey of becoming a video editor. Let me know what you think. If you have some thoughts or some skills to add of your own that you think are important. Again, be sure to subscribe for more tips on video editing and freelance lifestyle. Thank you to my team. Again, I am Colleen and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have the best one.